A walk down Penny Lane. My life as a penny. Hello, my name is Penny and I'm very old. A lot older than you are, I'm sure, but that's okay. My life has been exciting, and so I decided to share a little bit of it with you. I hope you have some time to spare and that you'll listen carefully to what I have to share with you. If you do, then you're going to learn some things that you never would have known. Rather than do all the talking, though, I'm going to ask you some questions as we go. And because you'll be answering those questions, you will remember what you've learned here today. I am so excited to share with you that I can hardly stand it. Are you ready? All comfortable in your chair or on your couch or in your bed? Great, let's get going. Now, I already told you that I am very old, but you'd never know it by looking at me. I still have the same shine that I had the day I was born. There weren't any cameras invented yet in 1793, but that's okay. I have lots of friends, and I'll bet you have one of them in your pocket. Why don't you take it out and take a close look at it? I'll bet you're wondering who that is. His name is Abraham Lincoln, and I'll talk more about him later because he's a very special person in the history of the United States of America. And oh, by the way, I have two sides, and they're very different on each side. Take a look closely and see what I mean. You already looked at the side with the picture on it, and that was Abraham Lincoln, right? Well, there's on the other side, it has more writing on it, and all of that writing is very important. I'll tell you why in just a little bit. So take a really close look at both sides and see all the small pictures and the words on me. Most people don't take the time to really look closely. I wish they would, because a lot of people spend a lot of time making all those pictures that are on the penny. Okay, I can't stand it. I was going to wait until later to tell you more about Abraham Lincoln, but I've decided to tell you about him right now. He means a lot to me, and once you learn what I have to share with you about him, I think you're going to really like him too. Abraham Lincoln was the President of the United States of America a long time ago. He grew up in the state of Illinois, but was actually born in Kentucky. For many years, he lived in a log cabin that he built. His nickname, or that what you people usually called him, was Honest Abe. He was known to always tell the truth whether people wanted to hear it or not. Mr. Lincoln was also a lawyer early in his life and ran for president more than one time. He only won because he kept trying after failing, and that's an important lesson that we could all learn. Always keep trying and don't give up when something is really important to you. When Abraham Lincoln was the President of the United States had a war, but it wasn't a war with another country. Nope, it was a war between all the different states that had formed. They didn't like what was being done in the government, but mostly they disagreed on whether there should be slavery in our great country. One side wanted it to continue, and the other side didn't. They were so upset about it that they started fighting each other, and the war went on for a long time, and thousands of soldiers died. It was very sad. After a few years, President Lincoln decided that he'd seen enough death and dying people fighting over the issue of slavery, so he said, "No more." He set the slaves free so they could live just like everybody else could. Eventually, people stopped fighting and went home to mend their lives and begin over again. The most important speeches ever given was given by President Lincoln. It is short, but probably the best-known speech in history. Is called the Gettysburg Address, and it took him only about 3 minutes to give it. I thought you might like to hear it for yourself, so I'm going to read it to you now. Now, some of the words in this speech can be a little bit confusing because it was written a long, long time ago, but if you stop and ask someone, like your mom or dad, they might be able to help you with it, and you'll be able to understand it a little better. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. The Gettysburg Address. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether the nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who have gave their lives that the nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from those honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Wow, that just takes my breath away every time I hear it. Wasn't that exciting? Well, some people were so upset over Mr. Lincoln's decision to free the slaves that they wished he was dead. One person even decided that he wanted the president dead so bad that he was going to shoot him, and that's just what he did. He snuck up behind him while the president and his wife were at a theater, and he shot him. Not long after that, Mr. Lincoln died, and the whole country was very sad. John Wilkes Booth was the name of the man that shot the President Lincoln. And you can find lots of books about this in your library. Maybe it would be fun to have your mom or dad take you to the library and get some books about President Lincoln. Can you read Latin? No, I couldn't either, but I learned to when the term e pluribus unum was printed on the penny. E pluribus unum means from many, one. It sort of means that from all the people of the United States, we all act as one, meaning that we live together mostly in harmony and agreement. Well, at least that's what it used to mean. I'm not so sure if people agree on that very much anymore. You can find E pluribus unum on the side of the penny with all the writing on it. Take a closer look now. Lots of really cool stuff has been written about me over the years, and what has been said most people remember because the sayings are so short. One of my favorite sayings is, "A penny saved is a penny earned." It's been around for hundreds of years now, and most people think that it was Benjamin Franklin that first said it. But they are wrong. Nope. It was actually first used in 1633 by a man named George Herbert. That was way before Benjamin Franklin was even born. The original saying was actually in Old English language, and it was, "A penny sparred is twice got." It means the same thing as what you probably heard, but back then people talked a little funny. At least I thought so when I heard them. What I think it means, and I think you'll agree, is that if you have a penny and you save it, then as your savings grows, you get more pennies because of the interest that a bank will give you for saving with them. Now, saving a penny doesn't really sound like a lot of money, does it? Well, I didn't think so either until I figured out that if you saved a penny a day from the day you were born until you were 65 years old and never touched the bank account and let the interest build up, you would be a millionaire. Wow, you should start saving your pennies today, shouldn't you? I think you should. Can a penny bring you good luck? Of course, I think it can, but then I'm a penny. Lots of people believe that finding a penny is great luck, but only if the head side is up. If the head isn't showing up, then they won't pick it up and save it. I really don't understand that, though, because finding money is always a good thing. And I am, after all, money, just not a lot of money. But like I just told you before, if you save a lot of pennies over the years, you could be richer than most people around you that didn't pick up that penny they found on the ground. So sad, too bad for them. Here's another saying that's always been one of my favorites. It is, I'll give you a penny for your thoughts. Have you ever heard that before? Any idea what it might mean? I'll bet your mom or dad knows what it means, but next time you're talking to them, why not have the answer and fool them? Tell them, I'll give you a penny for your thoughts, and see what they say or do. It'll be fun for sure, but I guess I should tell you what it means, shouldn't I? I'll give you a penny for your thoughts just means that you want to find out what somebody's thinking. You know, that person that just seems to be staring off into space with a blank look on his or her face and saying nothing. By saying, I'll give you a penny for your thoughts, it shows that you're interested in what they're thinking about, and it makes a great way to get their attention and begin a fun conversation. When they look at you, wouldn't it be fun to have a penny in your hand and give it to them? I think it would be great fun. Lots of times I've heard people come up to someone and say, hey buddy, can you spare a dime for a cup of coffee? I never liked that because 10 pennies equals a dime, 10 cents, and I'm just as good as a dime is. I never once heard anybody say, hey buddy, can you spare a penny? Makes me a little angry, I have to admit. Oh well, you can't buy a cup of coffee for a dime anymore anyway, so I guess I'll just forget it and move along. When was the last time the tooth fairy left you a penny? A penny, you say? Yes, a penny, I say. Lots of kids only get a penny from the tooth fairy because the parents told the tooth fairy that it was all they thought the child should have for such a small tooth. Of course, tooth fairies and parents are really good friends, so they work together to make everything just right. When you get older, you get more than a penny, but remember what I said before. A penny saved is a penny earned, so don't get upset if all you get's a penny. It's okay. So what did you learn today about the penny you have in your pocket or your piggy bank? I shared some pretty neat stuff with you, and I really hope that you share what you've learned with somebody else so they can know about me too. I had a lot of fun being with you today, and maybe we can do this again. I would like that. Hey, how about inviting some friends over to your house and tell them what you learned about pennies and how important they are to everybody? Tell them the story of Mr. Lincoln and that you can even talk Latin. That would be fun. Okay, I have to go now. The person who has me in their pocket just said he was going to the bank to put more pennies in his account, and I think I'm going to be one of them. I bet I will meet lots of my friends there, and we'll have such a good time. Bye for now. See you again soon. Your friend Penny.